Hey, and welcome to Board with Life News for November 4th. Today I'm going to talk about Pandemic Legacy, Here Kitty Kitty, Star Wars Rebellion, and the Kickstarter for the Great Dinosaur Rush. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Life News. I'm going to go through a couple minutes worth of Board with Life news, but it's exciting stuff, so you might want to bear with me. If you only care about board game stuff, skip a couple minutes in. I don't care. So, as far as Board with Life news goes, first up, I think the next 2 weeks I'm going to be off because I'm going to be out of town, and then it's BGGCon. Then I'll be back and report on all the stuff from BGGCon, so you have that to look forward to. Donald and Nikki had their baby, and it's a girl named Luca Faye, and she's adorable. So we have our newest cast member, so that's very exciting. With that, the podcast, we might miss a week or two or something like that here and there. I'm not sure if that will happen or not. But obviously, Donald handles the podcast, and his life got really complicated really quick. So that we might have a little break there, but give us some time, because they had a kid. Get off it. Really, really exciting news. If you're coming to BGGCon, you can come join us for a sneak peek of Board with Life Season 2. We are going to premiere an entire episode there, so you'll get to see an episode way before anybody else. We're also going to premiere the trailer for our second season there. We'll be premiering that trailer online shortly thereafter in the coming week, probably around November 20th-ish. The details, as far as I know, it's going to be at the Wetzel Room, W-E-T-Z-E-L Room, Friday the 20th at 7 to 8 p.m. We're going to be screening a full episode, the trailer, and then we're going to have a Q&A for a cast and crew afterwards if you're interested in that. There's limited seating. I think there's only like 40 or 50 seats, so it's probably going to fill up. So I don't think you need a ticket or anything. I think you just need to show up. Definitely follow us on Twitter and stuff so that you can be updated with that as we get more info and it gets more clear as we go. But that's very exciting. So excited to be able to finally show you guys an episode from the season, and the trailer were really good. With that, we're announcing that Board with Life Season 2 is going to premiere in February of 2016. So, very quick, once the new year happens, we are going to be premiering 7 all-new episodes. One a week at a time? One a week at a time? That's a wrong way to say that. But 7 all-new episodes coming February 2016. Very excited about that. We'll have more details when we release the trailer. Okay. All that Board with Life news out of the way, let's get into board game news. Pandemic Legacy was one of the most anticipated games, if not maybe the most anticipated game in recent memory. It came out just barely over a month ago, and in 1 month, it has rocketed to number 72 on the Board Game Geek Top 100. That is incredible. I don't think that's ever been done. I don't have the numbers on that, but I think it's definitely the fastest climbing game ever. People are already talking about possibly knocking Twilight Struggle out of the number 1 spot. Right now, it's sitting at a average rating of 9, which is higher than any of the games that are in the top 100 or whatever by quite a ways. But since there haven't been as many reviews, there have been about 1,000 ratings. That's why it's not number 1 yet. Every review I've read has said that it is one of the greatest games I've ever played, one of the greatest gaming experiences. It's pretty incredible that this game kind of has lived up to the impossible amounts of hype that it had, and pretty crazy to see. Fireside Games announced Here Kitty Kitty, which is going to come out in the second quarter of 2016. This is a game, and they haven't released any mechanics, which, side note, if you're a manufacturer, not a manufacturer, if you're a board game publisher, whenever you release any information about your game, like if you have a cover art on Board Game Geek, you should put at least simple mechanics. Like, say it's a set collection game or anything like that. Because that's what the game is, so you should know that if you're putting the game up online, and I need that kind of stuff so that I can do news, and I'm interested in it, so please do that. Anyways, it's a 3 to 6 player game. It comes with like 40 plastic cats, and it's about trying to get cats, collect cats. I don't know how, as I said, there are no mechanics, but I'm sure this will appeal to a very specific board game crowd. It's very cutesy, and yeah, so there's that. And now the huge news this week, Fantasy Flight Games announced Star Wars Rebellion, which is going to be a new strategy board game from them. It's 2 to 4 players, but it really looks like it's actually more like 2 players, where you could do teams if you're doing 4 players, but really a 2-player game. You can take on the roles of the Galactic Empire or the Rebel Alliance. This is going to have over 150 plastic miniatures. It is going to be massive. This is the type of game for you if you get excited when I say it's going to have 32 of Star Wars Galaxy's most notable systems. Or it's got miniatures for the Death Star in 2 different stages of completion. So it's going to be a Star Wars game. But it's getting a lot of people kind of looking over it, getting compared to War of the Ring quite a bit. It seems like it will be good. I mean, Fantasy Flight has done a good job with their Star Wars games so far. It's a highly asymmetric game. It's a little bit interesting because Hasbro, as far as I know, still owns the rights to publishing Star Wars board games, and Fantasy Flight has sort of gotten away with that, saying that they're making tactical miniatures games, even though Imperial Assault is a board game. Like, if Descent's a board game, Imperial Assault's a board game. And they already gotten a little bit of heat with Hasbro over that, so Hasbro handles the distribution for Imperial Assault because of it. This looks like a board game. It looks like there's no way around calling this a board game. It is not really a tactical miniatures game. Maybe they're still getting away with that, or maybe they are just, Hasbro's happy with their distribution deal or something, but clearly something happened behind the scenes to allow for Fantasy Flight to basically make Star Wars board games. So that's exciting news because they do a good job with them. The Kickstarter for this week is for The Great Dinosaur Rush. It's by Scott Almes, designer of Tiny Epic Kingdoms and that whole line, and a whole bunch of games that have come out on Kickstarter in the past couple of years. It's a set collection game where you take on the role of paleontologists racing to dig up different bones and construct dinosaurs. It's really cool. You're getting basically wooden sticks of different colors, and you have to place them in a certain way, you know, like the green sticks can only go in the spine and the yellow sticks can only go in the head. So you actually construct a dinosaur out of the bones you collect. So that's pretty cool and fun. It looks like an interesting game, and it is $40 right now on Kickstarter, so go back that if that sounds interesting to you. All right, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube for all the updates, especially with upcoming Board Game Geek stuff. You're going to want to know about that as we get details, so that's a great way to find out that information. This week's question comes from @Mebesqui via Twitter, and there were a bunch of good questions this week, but I picked this one because it's pertinent to something I've already talked about today. They ask, with Time Story's new save mechanic and the legacy games, are board games taking too much from video games? If the question was, are board games taking too much from video games, I might have a different answer. I don't think it's happened yet, but I could see there being some negatives with that, with integration of apps. Like, I didn't really like the way XCOM integrated apps into it, things like that. But I think the save mechanic in Time Stories, which is basically, in Time Stories, there is a section of the insert where you can save a game, where it's basically you have a little place with your player token and you can like put all the items that you've collected that game there, so you can like pause a game, pack it up, and unpack it and redo it. I thought that was a brilliant idea. I love that idea. Time Stories isn't even really that long a game. I think we played it the first time through, which is the longest, and it took maybe an hour and a half with learning. So it's not even super necessary for that, but I could see a game like Twilight Imperium greatly benefiting from that. I don't know how they'd actually do it, but, you know, these like long, giant games, if you could save your state partway through, that would be really cool. So I think that's a great idea, and something that came from video games that's good. Legacy games, I think, it's the most exciting thing going on in board games right now. I think clearly the community also agrees with that, with how much people are absolutely loving Pandemic Legacy. I think there is so much that can be done with that. I think that integrating stronger narrative into games and stuff is great. And whether that's coming from the video game world or the role-playing world or just some kind of combination of all of that, I think it's a great thing. So I can't really think of video games getting into the board games in a way that I don't like, and really taking good things from any medium and incorporating them into the board games, I think only makes them stronger and more interesting and hopefully more appealing to a wider crowd. So short answer is no, I don't think that board games are taking too much from video games. All right, thanks so much for tuning in this week, and I will see you in a couple weeks.